Gentlemen, let's kind of focus on the broader picture nationally and sort of look ahead at some of the trends that we're expecting for 2012. Larry, let's start with you. Obviously, a big political year without question, and these primaries getting ready to really get started.
You bet. You know, we came very close to having a new farm bill written at the end of 2011 within perhaps a 5 or 6 week period, and of course that all fell apart when the budget talks fell apart in Congress. So here we are left with having to write a farm bill in an election year, and a presidential election year at that. And the Republicans are going to be working hard to get their candidate in over the next few months. Obama is of course on the Democrat side. So I think as we move into the middle of next year, there'll be the pressure on to begin to talk about just how much we're going to cut out of the farm bill. And even though it's a very small part of the federal budget, it's going to be a big target. And one of the reasons they wanted to write it this year was to reduce the cuts. But there are going to be some big cuts on the table, and farmers are going to be looking at whether or not they want to shift to this risk management program that's going to require more out of their own pockets and less from Uncle Sam.
And Derrell, looking ahead to 2012 livestock-wise, some of the trends there?
I think there's a number of factors that will be critical in 2012 on the cattle side. Obviously the drought is still a question mark, so if we continue the drought, not only will it have huge impacts directly on our producers here in this part of the world, but it will continue to have market level impacts as well. If in fact we get to the spring and have spring and look like we're going to get some relief from the drought conditions, then we're going to be in rebuilding mode, and that's a different set of issues. Behind all of that, the underlying strength in the markets with reduced cattle inventories and reduced beef production expected next year. We're going to have high prices. You know, producers are going to see high prices for what they sell, but they're also going to face very high prices for replacement breeding animals. From that standpoint, so there's going to be a lot of challenges about how fast and how much we can really afford in terms of these rebuilding costs, as well as the other input costs as well. International markets have been very important to us the last couple of years, will continue to be important as we go forward. Domestic consumer demand has also been, obviously is always important. It's been pretty sluggish in some sense of the word. We're seeing some progress in that, but as we see beef production drop, and we're anticipating about a 4% annual drop in beef production in 2012, we're going to really see consumers face more than they have already, higher retail prices, and that raises some questions in about how that will all play out in terms of how much beef we will eat and what kinds of beef and what mix of products consumers will turn to in the face of that. So all of those issues will be out there. We're expecting generally high prices, but with lots of challenges from a profitability standpoint with high input costs as well.
And Kim, crops?
Well, it's hard to figure out where to start with crops. We've got the hard red winter wheat, or the winter wheat crop, planted in the United States. There's problems, West Texas, the Oklahoma Panhandle, Western Kansas. Right now it doesn't look like they're going to have much of a crop. You've got the Oklahoma, Southern Kansas, that if things come out on average, we will have an average crop, but with the drought and the lack of subsoil moisture, the odds are against us. But they're talking 4 million more acres of wheat for the 2012 crop than we had for the 2011. So the loss in production in Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas will be probably easily made up. So I think you're looking at wheat prices lower in 2012 and 2013 as compared to 2011 and 12. As you look at corn and soybeans, the question is will you have the bidding for land in 2012 like you had in 9, 10, and 11? I don't think so, because the ethanol has hit the wall. I think the producers have their soybean corn rotation in place. I think they're going to stay with the acres, and they've pretty much been established. So prices will probably be slightly lower for the corn and the beans than they were in 2011. But maybe higher than they were in 2010. Cotton, that's a world crop as you look at cotton. I don't think we're going to have it up in the $1.20 level, probably more where it is in the 80 to 86 level, somewhere in that. So cotton prices is not as high. The big question is the drought for this region, Are we going to be able to get this wheat crop out? Is Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas going to be able to get summer crops next year? I believe the rest of the United States will. The question is Oklahoma.
Okay, and we'll all be here to talk about it, won't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today and your perspective and for helping us throughout the year with the things that we do to help Oklahoma producers. And thank you so much to you for joining us for SUNUP. We wish you a very happy new year, and we'll see you next time.